Very happy to be here with you. So why we are here, I hope you excuse my English. Basque is for next year. Why we're here? Well, it's increasingly important to factor in the environmental element in the startup's business model. It's increasingly key and strategic. And you probably want to know how is that possible to do, maybe for your organization, what benefits it can bring, and how others are doing it. So my name is Nico. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Waves of Change. We are a French Basque non-profit in Biarritz. And we work with different organizations, including startups, in addressing the problems, the environmental problems that face coastal cities, whether it's Biarritz, Donostia, Bayona, California, India, Senegal, also cities and so forth. We work together, and this is what we call collaborative sustainability, because in this process, we as organizations converge on shared problems and shared impact. So that's our agenda. And we are lucky enough to work with these people who represent startups that have this environmental element in their business model. So next to me, Aaron Handrecke from Container Grid aus Berlin. Hello, Aaron. Also Etienne Reynaud, who is partnership manager for two solutions that work increasingly together, K1 Tech and Stations E. They will describe. Bonjour, Etienne. And next to you, Jean-Marc, who is a program manager at Pragma Industry in Iparralde in Biarritz. Egunon, Jean-Marc. So my first questions, we will start in the same order so that is easier. Oops. Excuse me. This is my first question. We would like to know, I'm sure everyone would like to know, we would like to know, what is your model, what problem you are trying to solve in a few words, and how do you combine this environmental value with the economic value? Because you do both. So maybe we start with you, Aaron, introducing Container Grid.
Hi guys, so my name is Aaron. I'm founder and CEO of Container Grid, and we are working on accelerating the circular economy. How do we do that? By enabling OEMs, brands like Hitachi, like Volkswagen, like L'Oreal, to take responsibility for the products that they sold into the world. So end-of-life product management. And we do this by enabling them to significantly reduce their recycled material procurement cost. This by offering a scalable take-back service to take back the old products into certified recycling, and to not lose the material into recycling, to also gain access to the products at the end of the value chain. So our business model by nature is sustainable because we basically reduce the cost of recycling and procuring recycled material, but also thereby enable an increase in the recycling quota.
Hello everyone. So if I talk about K1 Tech, K1 Tech is a specialized company in smart lighting. So I think environment and economic are completely interlinked. It's completely embedded in the business model. For example, if you go to a public city, you can check out at night, either the light is on or is off. There is no graduation in the lighting, in the intensity. So I think what K1 Tech is solving as an issue is to adapt the level of lighting to the public. So then you have energy saving. And this saving, you can monetize it because, of course, cities will make saving, companies will make saving, but also it's better for the people. So, yeah, it's completely embedded in the model. So the more saving we make, the more energy we save, and basically the more the the public is going to request solution from Carbon-Tech. And if I now talk about the other company, Station E, but this is a recharge EV business, electrical vehicle business. So of course the major criteria is CO2 reduction. We can saw it in cities, now even extending in some territories. So the more we reduce CO2, the better it is for companies, even from the tax point of view. You have incentive in companies. Even from the government, you have incentive as well. So it's completely interlinked as well. That's also why people choose EV vehicles.
Hi everybody. So a few words about Pragma. Pragma is a company that design and manufacture hydrogen systems, so the fuel cells and the electronics, for mainly light mobility, e-bikes, cargo bikes, and I hope in the near future four-wheelers and scooters, and also for drones and stationary generators. We are working for ourselves, but also for clients that want to integrate our technology in their products. For instance, last example is Toyota for the Olympic Games. And that said, you may know that fuel cells is a technology that has big potential in CO2 reduction, but there is a big roadblock that is the price of the system. So at Pragma, we have to take care of the biggest benefits of this technology, that is lifespan and ease of recycling. In a stack, you can change the electrodes that are small parts in the system. It's 1% in mass of the system. It's easy to change and to recycle the platinum inside. And all other parts can last 20 to 25 years. So our target is to create a circular economy, to go from a sale system to a rental system with a refurbishment process. So for a small company as Pragma, it's a big challenge, but it's quite exciting.
Thank you. Are we good so far? I will make a slight change in the schedule. In case any of you has a question at this point, feel free to jump in. Then otherwise, be ready for questions next. My second question to you guys, the same question for all three of you, is how you go about measuring and tracking both the financial value and the environmental value in your model. And for this, the idea was for you to talk about some concrete use case illustrating this. So starting with you, Aaron, again.
Happy to do so. So here on this slide, I basically explain, in the title, I basically explain the USP. So right now the problem is that you can't manage waste, logistics, flows, because the waste supply chain is very fragmented. So what our platform does is, it's a supply chain platform. In the top you see let's say, Peugeot, and Volkswagen has, or let's say Hitachi, and Hitachi has sold transformer systems. So in energy parks you have these huge transformer systems, converters, transmitters, sold it to energy parks, and now 30 years later, the energy parks like EDP, EDP, you probably know from Spain, they want to get rid of their old transformer because they have to buy a new transformer. So what our platform does is across 100 EDPs, across 100 energy parks, to take back into certified recycling of Hitachi, and thereby enable Hitachi at the end of the value chain to access the material. What is the specific carbon relation that we have here? Well, basically the number of transformers. The more transformers we get into recycling, the more material streams, aluminium, steel, copper oils in a transformer, we get recycled, the more carbon emissions we can inset or offset. At the same time, think about social impact in developing economies. So enable decentralized energy systems through better recycling of fishing nets, better recycling of algae, better recycling of packaging or e-waste in Ghana and Indonesia is enabling us to not only have an environmental impact, but also have a social impact on the ground.
Yeah, so if I talk about Cowantech in terms of measurement, for example, we are now monitoring over 1,000 devices in what we call in France a department, which is large areas. It probably includes around 50 cities or villages that are under the supervision and control. And what we do, we have some curve here down, I don't know if you can see, but you can see the efficiency of each on the graph of each equipment. So some of them are like say 85% efficiency, some of them are like 60%. So I think, of course, the difference is a waste of energy because we are measuring the energy that gets into the solution, the product, and the energy being used effectively. And this huge difference, of course, when you talk about thousands of product solution, and if we extend it in France, it will be like 11 million of smart lighting, and I guess in Europe it's over 100 million. Imagine you make a saving of 20% of efficiency and you monitoring. You can see how much saving you can make. And when you know that the electric lighting is maybe a third of the spending in cities, in terms of electrical power for the public, it's extremely high. So I think there are big stakes. It's not completely understood by the public today. People are just accustomed to see the light on or off, but it's just taking for granted. And I think what we want to do is to raise awareness. Oh, hold on. The equipment are not efficient, maybe enough. Maybe we spend too much in some areas while you have some lighting, and if there is no one, why you would light up the part of the city if there is no one? What's the use? So we are looking at the usage. So I think this is one of the leading companies. We are really the first one doing it. And our objective is to do it extensively in France, in Europe, and across the world. So maybe we can move on. Yeah, so if I want to continue, yes, that's more fast station E. I think because we're in Bilbao, of course, we're close to a port, an harbor. I think it will be very nice to give a user case. Of course, it's a recharge battery. We try to put the first recharge battery into Paris, near the Eiffel Tower. It was 2 days before the opening of the Olympic Games. It's myself at the bottom. There is no one because it's quite completely closed. There was a bit of a challenge, I must say, to be on the site. And then what's interesting, it's also we try to decarbonate basically using trucks, picking up the goods from the Seine River, you know the Seine River, and basically delivering to the shops in Paris, around 300 shops. And I think the first time we are doing it, and one of the challenges is we should adapt, of course, the recharge battery. Sometimes you think you have a big recharge for a truck. It's not the case, because you have to assess what is the usage again. If the truck is being stayed for 12 hours, you have more time to basically fulfill the trucks. So I think we are really moving. For me, the performance is intertwined between usage and the power usage. It's very important that. So it's more the intelligence you put around what you're trying to do and to how to measure it. And of course, one of the measures for CO2 dioxide is, we know, for example, in France, 28% of the dioxide, it's dioxide-free from renewable energy into the electricity grid in France. I don't know in Spain, but it's probably similar. So of course, the more we use electricity, the more we have a CO2 reduction.
Okay, So you all know that light mobility is a key solution to reduce CO2 emissions for transport, especially for commuting and last mile delivery. Last year we asked a specialist company to assess the life cycle of our product and the energy pack in the bike. So the result is, if you sell the bike and the customer will use it during 6 years and 15,000 kilometers approximately, this is average values, you're on par with an electric bike with battery, around 15 to 16 grams per kilometer. If you rent the bike, for instance, 12 years or 24 years, as I said, the technology allows that kind of lifespan. If you rent the bike that much and you recycle the electrodes every 6 years, with a set of electrodes and a couple of hours of work, you multiply the lifespan of the vehicle, you divide the carbon footprint down to maybe 4 grams per kilometer. So it's a big advantage for our technology if we are in a circular economy, as I said a few minutes ago. So So masterizing a new circular economy means renting the bikes, so you have to advance money. Renting the bikes, getting them back every 6 years, changing the electrodes, and rent it again. So we are 10 at Pragma, so we need to grow up to do that. And that's why I'm here. It's to find solutions to grow up and manage that kind of system for sustainability and profits.
So it's interesting. Here our goal, and they've just done so, kind of opening their brains, opening what's happening, the way they envision their future, the way they build their model. The difference with CSR in a big company is here you can hear, we hear about optimizing CO2 emissions, optimizing waste and waste management, optimizing energy consumption and so forth. And it's not, claims are the first step, but here what I'm hearing here is a continuous process. It's like R&D for all three of you guys. And so the exercise we're doing here, and it's just the beginning here today, but is opening how we do it, how each of them do it on a different use case, and you can start hearing they talk about similar topics on recyclability and so on. Now it's actually my last question before you guys is for them also to look at each other's model and how maybe make some simple remarks or maybe see opportunities to complement each other or to give advice or feedback from your own experience.
Reflecting on each other's businesses and use cases that we are here for developing. So between startups, it's extremely important to develop partnerships early on. And when it comes to Etienne's and Jean-Marc's models, well, we basically all work with materials. We all work on the new sustainable way of doing business, if not impactful way, even regenerative way. So with Etienne, I would be partnering up with taking back old batteries, taking back old sensors, and actually getting them orchestrated into the right refurbishing technologies, into the right repair shops, to then have them be reused in other use cases. For example, Volvo in Sweden is collecting old car batteries to actually rebuild them, repurpose them into data centers, right? With with Jean-Marc, I have already been discussing about decentralized energy system. He's working on hydrogen, right? So in the future with electrolysis, pyrolysis technologies, new recycling technologies on the horizon, and it's going to go fast. We are going to develop new decentralized supply chains, material system, even in emerging economies for developing, biofuels, biogas from cocoa nuts, cocoa shields, right? And there's a lot coming up. So hydrogen, when it comes to CO2 capture, when it comes to new ways of doing electrolysis, I think there's a lot we can do when it comes to decentralizing our energy systems out there. And Nico, I mean, your organization is highly impactful from Biarritz to Paris to the world. So the ocean economy is on the rise, and it's great to see what networks we're building around that.
So thanks. Yeah, I think it's very good to be here, of course, between us, but with also all of us guys, because we are very much working in the ecosystem. And if I take hydrogen, yes, I would be very interested to have Jean-Marc technology, maybe on the French Port Harbor in Paris. Why? Because on the handling, for example, right now it's picking up some electricity from the grid, and sometimes if there is too much electricity by the handling, I may have some problem to recharge fast enough the trucks because pick up the energy. So hydrogen would be a solution because it'll be more independent. So we've got fantastic user case now. And if I take Aaron, I'm sure also in terms of organization, because when you're in the EV recharge business, you want it to be predictable. Because we invest, you want to know how much will be a return investment, because you have to invest capex. And if it can be organized in a way, its structure, it will be very helpful and very interesting. And from the carbon dioxide also with the sensor, as Aaron mentioned, yes, there is a lot of things we could organize and develop as a global system. I really also would like to say very thanks to Nico and Wave of Change, because honestly, that's the way I've been introduced for the Port of Paris by collaborating on sustainability. So I think, yeah, it's thanks.
Okay, it's really enjoying to chat with you all, and I'm wondering with your stations if you are focused on cities or you are looking on the wilderness, on the small cities, because I think they are all forgotten by the big companies. And I think there are plenty of services to propose to that ecosystem, smaller ones. They lack for a lot of services, and maybe there is a solution to couple your offer with that kind of ecosystem, which are, as I said, forgotten often. Yeah. And I'm really enjoyed by the recycling push you propose, because I don't know the figures, but today a lot of things are recyclable, but we are far from recycling everything. So maybe for aluminium and plastic, it's under 30%. I don't know. Yeah. So it's good to have companies that push other companies to think about it. Big players, yeah. I don't know if you have in your system a kind of list to help them to think about all they can do. But they every time think to metal sheets, okay, carton, yeah, paper, but we have to help them to think about all what can be done. And it's a service, so you are on this function.
No, thanks, guys. So you see here, we're trying to, now we're opening the circle to all of you here. Prepare your questions or remarks. But what I like here, we kind of, you see, we scratched the surface. We kind of brainstormed, and they know each other a little more. We're at B-Venture. It's all about innovation. It's all about funding innovation, boosting innovation, being more creative, being more agile. And what we do in Complement here, all four of us with our organizations, is we try to make sense of this innovation, but we want to make sure it's not just a concept, you know, and so we want to make sure it works. So that's why we talked about business models. I'm aware we just scratched the surface now. You may have additional questions. It's an everyday process. I think what I acknowledge in what the work you, all three of you do, is that it's a lot of agility and changing, tweaking your business model. So it's constant improvement, and you see different market opportunities. You see if it makes sense for your value chain, for your customers, also for the environment, and you may uncover new opportunities. We didn't talk about waste to energy, for example. We didn't talk about several topics, and as days go by, you know, you raise more funding, you find more clients, but also you find more use cases, and that's what we try to do together. Voilà, making sure we have both ends meeting financial and environmental dimensions. I hope this makes sense to some of you. I have, if anyone has any question, this is a good time. And if not, I think I would have some questions to you here to know you more, and maybe also our panelists may also have questions. But first, what you guys do? Are you from a startup yourselves? Raise your hands. Or from an investor side? Yes, more or less. You want to say a couple words about what you do? Jon, I know what you do, but...
Hi, my name is John. I'm the head of Berriab here in Bilbao, and what we do is basically we are a startup accelerator. We also have a venture capital, which is EASO Ventures, also for private equity, and also a foundation. And especially what we do is this financing between corporates and strong R&D startups, especially. Thanks to some of the laws we have here in Biscay, we are able to finance startups through corporates.
Sorry, Nico. I have a question for Aaron. Regarding your customers, quick one maybe. What are they looking for? Is there, in your solution, is there spending less money, or is there a real, because the impact of the ecological side, or what are they interested in?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's because it has two sides. I completely agree with you, right? It has the side of the business case. How can we make the circular economy more profitable, or at least less of a cost? And this because the regulation is coming, right? In the automotive industry, we have the end-of-life vehicle directive by 2027 or 2029 for some vehicles. You need to prove that 25% of all raw materials that are being used in production, manufacturing, are actually coming from recycling, and 6% of all raw materials need to come from a closed loop, right? They need to come from old vehicles that I have sold back in the days. So yes, one, it's significantly reducing their costs in procuring recycled material. But two is also more transparency in their CSRD, more control over their suppliers, social impact in countries that have been suffering most from their wastes, right? In the US, some wastes are still being buried, landfilled. In Indonesia, in Vietnam, you have these landfills. So a lot of social instruments in the circular economy as well, when it comes to using the circular economy as an instrument for a just and equitable transition. Thanks for your question.
I hope this answers your question. I hope we answered questions you may ask yourself also. If you have any or that we didn't address, feel free. And otherwise, I want to thank all of you here. I want to thank the organization at B Ventures. I want to thank our panelists here, Jean-Marc from Pragma Industries, Etienne from K1Tech and Station Z, Aaron from Container Grid. Maybe you guys have a final word. If not, I can have it, but feel free.
Sure, happy to have been here. Thanks so much for inviting, and I cannot wait to see the Bilbao startup scene to even grow bigger than this, and I'm very excited to talk to some startups today.
So yes, thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. Hopefully we have some more synergy. We can even talk about Bilbao in the future. Very interested in it as well.
Thank you, Nico. One word is, if there is an opportunity to meet some investors for hardware work, I'm open to discussion.
We take this word, and also final word here. We are partner with B Venture, so we came here from Biarritz, from also Paris, from also Berlin. Next April, you here can also are welcome to join us at our event in Biarritz. If you want to work with these people, whether to invest with some of them on some solutions, on proof of concept and more, on collaborative sustainability, bridging the business side and the environmental side. That's what we do. We co-innovate there in Biarritz over 3 days. It's free for you if you're from a startup, and especially via B Venture. So here's your opportunity, and we'll be happy to have you. Thank you to all the team and to Ainoa, and thank you to you for listening.